after monitoring your crop, if you're detecting high levels of disease, so you're seeing a number of plants with more than 50% internal infection when you've cut them open, or you're seeing plants which are dying with external stem canker, then it's time to change the practices to make sure that you have lower levels of disease in future crops. Now, the way you do that is you go to the GRDC website and you get the Australian Blackleg Management Guide. If you Google it, it will come up straight away. All the information you need is in the management guide, but in a snapshot, the things that you're going to do is to keep this year's crop away from last year's canola stubble. We know that last year's canola stubble is responsible for something like 99% of the spores in the atmosphere. So we suggest about a 500 metre buffer between this year's crop and last year's canola stubble is ideal. Secondly, you're going to use a cultivar with a high blackleg rating, and again the management guide lists all the cultivars which are commercially available and their blackleg ratings. It's very important to get the current year's Blackleg Management Guide because the cultivars may lose resistance over time and therefore they may get a lower blackleg rating over time, and the guide will reflect that. Thirdly, you want to use a seed-treated fungicide. We use jockey in our experiments, and the seed-treated fungicides give a wonderful effect if you've got high levels of disease. We also now have the option of a foliar fungicide. The economics of using a foliar fungicide are widely unknown, but if you do have high levels of disease and you are suffering yield loss from blackleg, the use of a foliar fungicide will definitely reduce the level of disease and therefore yield loss. And finally, the Blackleg Management Guide also has the resistance groups. So as we spoke about before, if you're seeing in your cultivar, if you've been monitoring from year to year and you've seen that level of disease increasing, then you can switch to a different resistance group. So the way that works is each cultivar is given a different letter. And for instance, if you're growing the first cultivar on the list here, it's in group D. If you see level of disease increasing in that cultivar, you want to grow a cultivar that's not a group D. So you can switch to another one that's an E or a G or an A, for instance. And that will be based on a different resistance gene, and the pathogen which is starting to overcome your group E cultivar will no longer be able to attack this cultivar.